All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Indianapolis Colts in today's video because I think this might be the most slept on team in the AFC as far as just, under the radar playoff contending teams. I think, especially in the AFC, the Indianapolis Colts are probably at the top or at least not too far off from the top. This is a squad, with Gardner Minshew going 9-8. Shane Steichen made his NFL coaching debut last season, and he did a phenomenal job. Anthony Richardson, top 5 draft pick, gets injured in the first month of the season. And Gardner Minshew Magic, they go 9-8. They have one of the most effective and efficient rushing offenses in the NFL. You just drafted 2 studs in Latu and Adonai Mitchell. And if Anthony Richardson can just stay healthy, I just don't see why not. How can you not love Anthony Richardson? Shane Steichen has showed us in his entire track record, in every resume he has, that he can build quarterbacks. He can get the most out of every quarterback he has ever coached. And if he can maximize what Anthony Richardson's special, unique talents are and, get it to an effective, efficient metric in the NFL, and I'm talking, not necessarily even interceptions. I'm talking more completion percentage, just accuracy. We know AR isn't the most accurate passer in the league, but with those legs, his ability to extend plays and make big time throws, paired up with Shane Steichen, all 5 returning starters to the offensive line unit that ranked top 10 in both yards per rush and quarterback pressure rate. I mean, things are looking good. So welcome back to the channel. We haven't talked to Colts in way too long. So if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button, hitting that sub button, if you guys haven't already, Colts fans, especially if we try and get this video to 100 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. The one fear that you have to have with Anthony Richardson, whether it's the college level or the NFL level, is can he stay healthy, right? We need him to slide more, essentially. But in the last 5 seasons, Anthony Richardson has suffered at least 8 injuries. So it's very, very, very important that not only he plays smart, but that this offensive line protects him. And once again, all 5 starters are returning. It's extremely reliable. It's a very good, solid, consistent offensive line, and that should make life easier on Anthony Richardson. But one thing I think really helps the Colts is their schedule. You have the easiest schedule in the division. And I think a lot of people are so focused on the Houston Texans. Folks, they just won the division. They have a hard-ass schedule. Everyone is gunning for Houston now. Last year, they had kind of what the Colts are in right now, under the radar, like young rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, not high expectations. You're excited to see what these guys look like and what they can do as the season goes on. But nobody was really thinking, or at least if you were thinking, if the Houston Texans won the division, it could be considered and should be considered a long shot. But the whole talk for the AFC South all offseason has been Houston this, Houston that, Houston this. And I think the Texans are a really good team. I think they have a really good roster. I think they're well coached. I think CJ Stroud is going to be a very good quarterback. He already is. I know you guys can't wait for the rivalry, hopefully between these 2 young quarterbacks for many years to come. But I just think these expectations are really high, and that's a very difficult schedule. And you look at teams like Jacksonville and Tennessee and Indianapolis, and it's like nobody's given any of you guys love here. So Anthony Richardson, he started in 4 games, but he only played 12 quarters. He got injured right away in that 4th game. When he was on the field, he finished with 577 yards of passing, 136 yards of rushing, and 7 total touchdowns, including just 1 interception. Now, one thing to just monitor, at least what I'm monitoring, is Josh Downs, because Josh Downs is injured right now, and Adonai Mitchell has taken his spot in the slot. But this was a perfect example of how under the radar the Indianapolis Colts went last season. He's been getting a ton of hype, or he was getting a ton of hype, especially in spring, specifically with Anthony Richardson and his connection that they have. But he had 68 total catches. That's a rookie franchise record. He averaged 63 yards and over 5 catches during his first 8 games, which he then injured his knee, unfortunately, and that led to a notable drop in pretty much all those categories I just mentioned. Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman Jr., Adonai Mitchell, a couple of weapons there at tight end. Jonathan Taylor, the same start in 5. Like, on paper, man, this offense should be very good. What I think is a really good kind of example of how the Colts season is going to go is what we do know, or at least what we've heard from either mainly actually joint practices. You guys are about to run two joint practices. I think it's against the Cincinnati Bengals tomorrow and then on Thursday, back-to-back practices. And we should see AR suit up for, I think, your Sunday game, the preseason finale. I think the Colts are going to be one of those teams that starts off, 2-2, 2-3, 3-3, something like that. And nobody's really paying too much attention to them outside of guys like, obviously Anthony Richardson, Latu, Adonai Mitchell, fantasy purposes mainly, and Anthony Richardson. And then I think it's just going to be a team that gets hot in the middle of the season and they just keep it going until playoff time. And I think they ultimately make the playoffs. If you can go 9-8 with Gardner Minshew, and I know he just got named the starting quarterback for the Raiders, but AR, it just makes plays and he can change games. I'm not a huge college football fan, but I did see Anthony Richardson play at Florida against South Carolina in the swamp 2 years ago, and he just has that it factor. He's just got that swagger to him. And he also seems like such a great, nice guy. And he had pretty much an entire regular season to just sit there, learn the game, continue to learn the game. And now he's had a full offseason just being fully healthy. So I think it's a team he needs live reps. That's what we keep hearing from joint practices. He just needs more reps. So I think it'll be, kind of just like a 2-2 team, 3-3 team in the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season. And then they start firing it off. 2-game winning streak, 3-game winning streak. And before you know it, the Colts are 6-8 or 6-2 in their final 8 games. And they're a 10-7 team, or 10-6 team going up against Houston and, the final week of the season. I don't know the schedule, so I'm going to stop talking. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. It might start a little bit slow because it's such a young, not rookie quarterback, but kind of a rookie quarterback because he's only got 12 quarters under his belt. The only concern I think you can possibly have with the Indianapolis Colts, it sucks Sampson got injured on the defensive side. I think Latu's probably going to be the best defensive player in the draft, right there next to Byron Murphy. Those are my two candidates, by the way. There's concerns with the secondary, specifically the safety position. Nick Cross has not officially been named the starter, but so far in 2 preseason games per PFF, he's earned a 79.3 overall grade, including a plus 84.6 tackling grade through his first 2 preseason starts. Keep in mind, he's entering his 3rd year. This is a former 3rd-round pick from 2022. When he came into the draft in 2022, he was the youngest player in that entire class. So he's right now 22 years old. It takes time to develop. It takes time to turn into good football players. You can't always start off like, some of these guys out there from last season. I keep saying this year, but Latu is going to be a freaking day one stud. But you get what I'm saying. Not everyone develops at the same time, and that's the only concern really is the secondary. But I've loved what I've been hearing from Nick Cross. He just had a really good game against the Cardinals this past weekend. Finished with 5 tackles. Had a really big hit on Trey Benson that resulted in a 2-yard loss. So tight end room, there's some guys. Kyle Granson, I think, is very underrated. Mo Alley Cox, Johnny Woods. We'll talk about that cat specifically in another day because there's so much talent. There's so much potential there. I hope he makes the roster. But anyways, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. If you guys want more Colts videos, be sure to let me know down below. But guys, most importantly, give me a win-loss prediction for the Indianapolis Colts down below.